Hello and good afternoon everyone. I am Michelle NAVORA from BSBA 1 Finance. And now I am going to discuss about the flows of migrants in Asia. So, ano nga ba ang flows of migrants?
Migration flows are the number of migrants entering or leaving a country or region during a specific period of time. The concept of migration stocks and flows emerged when nation-states started to measure and analyze the features of the populations living in their territories.
Ang flow of migrants ay ang mga imigrante na pumapasok o umaalis sa isang bansa o rehiyon sa isang tiyak na panahon. Ang konsepto ng flow of migrants ay kung nagsimula ng suriin at sukatin ang mga populasyon na naninirahan sa kanilang mga lugar or sa kanilang mga teritoryo.
Who is known as migrants? Migrants might be defined by foreign birth, by foreign citizenship, or by their movement into a new country to stay temporarily, sometimes for as little as 1 month, or to settle for the long term. In some scholarly and everyday usage, people who move internally within national boundaries are called migrants. Example of migration flow: if the number of foreign-born in the United States increases between 2 time periods.
Tinatansya dito ang pinakamababang flow of migrants sa pagitan ng US at sa lahat ng iba pang mga bansa sa mundo na kinakailangan upang matugunan ang pagtaas na ito. The next is the problem of undocumented immigrants.
The problem of undocumented immigrant is not restricted to the European Union and the United States. It is an issue elsewhere too, including in Asia. Ang problema ng undocumented immigrants ay hindi lamang sa European Union at United States limitado. Ito ay issue sa ibang bansa din kabilang na sa Asia. For example, there are more than 4 million immigrants in Malaysia, a country of 31 million, about half of whom are there without authorization. Over 15% of the labor forces is made up of immigrants. They mostly come from neighboring countries such as Indonesia, India, Nepal, the Philippines, Vietnam, Myanmar, and increasingly Bangladesh.
Naroroon sila upang magtrabaho tulad ng iba't ibang manual na trabaho at gayon din sa paggawa ng serbisyo sa industriya.
Examples of migrants workers: guest workers who temporarily lives in the U.S. through the federal H-2A program to the work on farms are also migrants farm workers. Other examples of mobile populations beyond migrant farm workers in the U.S. include people construction, meat packing, landscaping, day laborers, and disaster response, demolition, and cleanup. Non-documented migrant workers. Irregular migrant workers or non-documented migrant workers may be defined as a person who enters a country without authorization for the purpose of obtaining employment. In 1975, the UN General Assembly requested UN organizations and agencies to use the terms non-documented and irregular migrant workers instead of like illegal migrant workers. There are also 62,000 Rohingya refugees and additional estimated 30,000 to 40,000 who don't have official refugees status who have fled the genocide in Myanmar.
Marami sa mga migrante at refugee, lalo na sa mga naroroon ang walang otorisasyon, kaya sila ay tumakas sa genocide sa Myanmar. At dahil doon namumuhay sila sa takot, sa harassment, pag-aresto, whippings, imprisonment, and deportation.
The 1951 Refugee Convention defined a refugee as a person who has a well-founded fear of being persecuted for reasons of race, religion, nationality, membership of a particular social nationality, and is unable to or owing to such fear, is unwilling to avail himself of the protection of that country.
In 2005, the Malaysian government tasked RELA, or the People's Volunteer Corps, with searching out undocumented immigrants throughout the country. The group was originally created in 1960s to combat communism. Its members are permitted to stop a suspect on the streets or to enter into their home.
Human rights groups accuse it of various abuses, such as violence, extortion, theft, and illegal detention. So ayun, inakusahan ng mga grupo ng karapatang pantao ng iba't ibang pang-aabuso tulad nga ng karahasan, pangingikil, pagnanakaw at illegal na pagkulong. Sa topic na ito, matatalakay kung paano o kung ano ang ginagawa ng mga ibang dayuhan sa mga undocumented immigrants sa Malaysia at sa iba pang mga bansa. According to 2007 study by Human Rights, residents are brutalized, extorted money and cell phones, clothing, jewelry, and household belongings are confiscated before immigrants are handcuffed and transported to detention centers or illegal immigrants. Why are human rights important to migrants? Migrants whose rights are protected are able to live in dignity and security and turn are better able to contribute to society both economically and socially than those who are exploited, marginalized, and excluded. What are some examples of human rights reasons for immigration? Right to life. All immigrants have a right to life, and states have an obligation to ensure that no migrant is arbitrarily deprived of this right. Lahat ng migrante ay may karapatang mabuhay, at ang mga bansa ay may pananagutan na garantiya na ang karapatang ito ay hindi makatarungang itinatanggi. Equality and non-discrimination. International human rights law guarantees freedom discrimination in the enjoyment of human rights for all people including migrants. Lahat ng individual, kabilang ang mga migrante, ay ginagarantiyahan ng kalayaan mula sa diskriminasyon sa pagtatamasa ng kanilang mga karapatang pantao sa ilalim ng international na batas sa karapatang pantao. Protections against arbitrary arrest and detention. Individuals, including migrants, should not be subjected to arbitrary arrest or detention under international human rights law. Sa ilalim ng international na batas sa karapatang pantao, ang mga individual ay kinabibilangan ng mga migrante ay hindi dapat isinasailalim sa di makatwirang pag-aresto o pagkakakulong. Protection against torture or inhuman treatment. The prohibition of torture is a just cogence or peremptory norm of international law. Ang ibig sabihin na ito ay kahit na ang Estado ay nagpatibay ng isang kaugnay na kasunduan, mayroon itong obligasyon na itaguyod ang pagbabawal ng torture. Family rights. International human rights norms require states to consider immigrants' family life and their family members in decision regarding their admission, detention, or expulsion. Hinihiling ng mga internasyonal na pamantayan ng karapatang pantao na suriin ng mga awtoridad ang buhay ng mga pamilyang migrante at kanilang mga kamag-anak kapag gumagawa ng desisyon about admission, detention, or expulsion. The issue of immigration, often undocumented, is also of concern in Central Asia, where large number of people are moving north from impoverished and declining countries such as Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan to the comparatively Russia. According to Russian estimates, migrations in 2013 with approximately 2.7 million Uzbeks, 1.2 million Tajiks, and 600,000 Kyrgyz nationals. All of these are currently working, some of them seasonally, in Russia, either with or without authorization. Problems arise because receiving nations do not seem to know how to categorize such immigrants, and they are often treated very badly, sometimes even being turned into slaves or semi-slaves. At dahil doon, madalas na tratuhin ng napakasama, kaya kung minsan ay nagiging alipin. Sa kabila ng gayong pagtrato, patuloy na dumarating ang mga imigrante dahil napakahirap ng kalagayan ng ekonomiya sa kanilang bansa. While the borders in the region remain open, there has been an increase in the smuggling of undocumented immigrants. In the long run, large amount of immigration will weaken the home country by decreasing the population, the level of production, and economic spending. Kung ang isang bansa ay nawalan ng mga mamamayan dahil sa mga kadahilanang pang-ekonomiya, ang sitwasyon ay hindi bubuti hanggang sa mga pagbabago sa ekonomiya.